Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. I just dyed my hair, so I'm feeling a little bit different. I'm coming at you from my room, aka my office. I'm looking at my red cardinal snow globe for good luck. I'm gonna put this on the side. And in this video, I'm gonna be opening up to you again. This is an exercise for me to feel comfortable speaking to you, speaking to the camera. I'm not gonna edit the video. I'm gonna be sharing with you some thoughts, so if you agree or disagree, please leave a comment below. And if you like what I'm saying, please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It will help me with the algorithm and get this message out if it resonates with you. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the importance of facing our emotions. I'll be talking about how I believe life is cyclical. There's different cycles of our lives. I'll be talking about how everything is connected. Our relationships, our work, the different society expectations, and I'll be talking about balance. I always like to talk about balance. That's something that I struggle with. So let's get into it. I was just reflecting on life and how sometimes it's very painful. It's very troublesome going through our life as humans. We experience heartbreak. We experience trauma when we're younger. And, as we get older, I feel like it's a common thing, or a lot of times, like, we just feel upset. People wrong us. And I connected with some acquaintances, some friends, and I feel like a lot of them are turning to medicines to calm their depression or other things like drugs and alcohol in order to cope with the stress, cope with the pain of life, and I don't blame them because life sometimes is extremely difficult. We all have those days and we all come from different backgrounds. We all start on different levels, society, racial levels. I hate to think of our society based on race, but I think there's an element of race in the different status that you inherently start with. That doesn't mean that you can't supersede your label, but I believe that as society as a whole, they always put a label on you. Anyway, I'm not judging people that are turning to substances in order to help them cope with their days, because life is very tough sometimes. For a while, I used to enjoy eating a lot of food, like excess food. So I would binge on food like pizza, and I would eat way too much. That was a way for me to release and feel better about myself. But that's not a healthy way to cope with how I'm feeling. And actually, with a lot of these things, there's a stage of it feels good, it feels good, and then you hit like a threshold, and then you start to crash down, and it actually feels worse. That's just from my experience. I've never done any drugs. I have recreationally drank alcohol many times throughout my life. I used to be a certified sommelier and a restaurant professional, so alcohol is an integral part of the restaurant. It has throughout the ages, but is that necessarily a good thing? These things I'm questioning. Like, why does every restaurant have alcohol? Why, when you turn on the TV, are they promoting alcohol? Why? So I'm not going to say whether it's good or bad, but anything in excess is not going to be good, even if it's a good thing. So it's really tough for us to cope with the pain that we have in our lives and to face our emotions. But I believe facing our emotions is an integral part of being humans, because as humans, we have a higher level of consciousness than, say, like a plant. I mean, there's an argument saying that, all living things, whether it be plants or animals, all have levels of consciousness, and animals feel pain too. But as humans, we experience a higher level of consciousness. You can say we're I don't want to say like on top of the food chain, but we experience a higher level of consciousness. So we have thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And I believe one of our purposes in coming into this incarnation as, I'll say, Michael, is to experience things. Life is all about an experience. And feeling these emotions are what makes us who we are. And you probably want to punch the screen right now. You're saying if this terrible thing happened to me, why in the heck would I want to experience this? And I get it. It's very tough. a lot of these things in the moment, it's very alarming to deal with it. But what I'm beginning to realize is that nothing is inherently bad. It's thinking that makes it so. I forgot who said that. We always have a choice in how we feel. You know, we always have a choice in how we respond to certain situations, to certain people. And if we get really upset when someone wrongs us, we begin to lose control of ourselves and let what they're saying affect us. And I'm not saying I mastered this, but I'm trying to be more aware of how I feel, you know, what certain triggers trigger me. And I think it comes down to maintaining an alignment in our lives, right? People, situations will influence us, and they will maybe in effect cause us to either maintain our alignment or be an impetus to possibly cause us to fade out of our own alignment. But I think when that happens, when we start fading out of alignment, and I'm not saying everyone's perfect, we have to begin to realize that and pick ourselves back up. And the picking ourselves back up is a very hard part. And I don't have a step-by-step process in order to pick ourselves back up, but I believe it's very integral to experience the feelings, the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you and I have in order to move past what's actually bothering us. Because I believe if you don't face what's bothering you and you push it to the side or you numb it, it's going to create pain inside. And eventually, I don't know how long you can hold it, you won't be able to contain it anymore, and you're going to release it. You're going to like explode. It's going to be like a volcano. So I think it's best if you can face the challenge, face the emotions that you're feeling, face yourself, face your own internal demons, work through that. Think about how you're feeling. I think the first part of it is awareness. Like, I'm feeling this way. Why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling like this? Usually it has to do with my own insecurities or my own trauma. Or if someone wrongs me, having the strength to be like, oh, maybe they're having a rough day. Maybe they're experiencing a lot of pain. And I still need to stand up for myself if someone wrongs me. But there's a way to do it from a position of strength and confidence rather than of lack. If I know my own self-worth, if you say something bad about me, depending on what you say, I will let you know my thoughts. And I'll let you know whether or not what you said is the right thing to say, in my opinion, or if you offended me. But I'm not gonna attack you. I'm not gonna use profane language with you, but I'm gonna let you know my truth. And I think that's also very liberating. So not being a passerby, not being a standby, not being a people pleaser and letting people walk all over you, still speaking your truth. But you have to go through this difficult period, face your emotions. And if you use drugs and alcohol, that's only gonna numb it, and you're not gonna really go through what's bothering you. This is just what I think. So I think if you're struggling right now, or if you're having negative thoughts, that's okay, because we all have negative thoughts. We all have negative thoughts, and we're never taught in how to handle and cope with ourselves. We're always taught to look outside of ourselves. Drugs, alcohol, money, fame, things that we think will make us feel better. But the only thing that will make us feel better is that internal groundedness. And that comes with understanding ourselves, practicing emotional intelligence, understanding what triggers us, and then responding in a stance of strength and not of lack. And that comes with inner confidence and a lot of work, a lot of self-introspection that I'm working on right now. So it's really hard. So I have days still where I'm like, damn, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. All areas of my life are like a mess, but that's just part of the journey. And with that said, I believe that life is cyclical, right? I'm going to talk about my second point, the cycles of life. So one of my spiritual teachers, she sent me a podcast from this other spiritual woman. Her name is Christina the Channel. Christina is a special name for me. Anyway, the topic of this podcast was on relationship dynamics from an energetic standpoint. And then I listened to some of her other podcasts, and she had a podcast about cycles, our cycles of our life. And I thought that was really interesting because I was reflecting a lot about the person that I was when I was 10 years old, the person that I was when I was 16 years old and, 20 years old, etc. Now I'm 30. And even though I'm the same person, what I liked doing, what made me happy, what resonated with me was always a little bit different. And now I'm a very different person. Like, I look back at the high school Michael that was playing all these sports and trying to fit into the crowd. I was like, who's that? I don't even know who that is. Like it's me, but it's not me because I'm not the same person. Like, I could care less about sports these days. See what I'm saying? When I graduated college, all I cared about was finding a good job and making a lot of money. When I was working in restaurants, all I cared about was my job. I didn't care about my family. I didn't care about my relationships. I just cared about becoming respected in the industry and as well as making people happy. But that's all I cared about. Now I'm at a point where I think that the life that I want to live, the simple things make me very happy. A cup of coffee in the morning. I can't even say it, like a home cooked meal. I used to enjoy going to like fancy restaurants. I still enjoy it from time to time, but there's something special about a home cooked meal from my grandmother, from my partner, from my mom and dad. Actually, my dad can't cook, but a home cooked meal is really special. I don't really wear like fancy clothes anymore. When I worked in restaurants and advertising, I used to dress up a lot. Now I just wear a t-shirt all the time. Just having a conversation with a friend or my partner, that's what really makes me happy these days. The little things, the little things. So I'm a different person than when I was 5 years ago, last year, these sorts of things. And it's interesting to note because I recently downloaded this app called, this is not a advertisement, called, what's it called? It's called Pattern, I think it's called Pattern. And it's an app that deals with astrology, and it also talks about like the cycles of your life. There's a function of this app where you can go back in time to various dates and times of your life. So I went back in time to the time that I graduated college, and the main theme of that was growth, transformation. I went to the time where I quit my restaurant job and decided to go to Shanghai, China in 1 year in 2018. The theme of that time period was also transformation and growth. And then I went to the current time period right now, and it's about transformation and growth. So I'm not saying that the app is 100% accurate, but the themes that I felt in the past stages of my life and right now are stages of transformation. Even though I'm not the same person that I was, a couple years ago, I believe that everything built upon each other. Like, working in a restaurant was a layer of my purpose. My purpose is to bring people together. I realize now I don't need to be in a restaurant. My dog is scratching the door. I don't need to be in a restaurant to I'm trying to film a video of this. I don't need to be in a restaurant to share my passion, to work on my passion of bringing people together, right? There's other ways to do that I said this many times, with my videos, with my cinnamon buns. There's different ways that I'm still open to. Okay, so I don't need to open a restaurant. But that experience was essential in working in a restaurant. Working a corporate job for 2 years was essential in my development. I developed some people skills. I learned how that people like that work, right? That corporate life. That was very important. That helped me become who I am today. That helped shape me. Without trying that, without experiencing that, without going through that, I wouldn't know if that resonates with me now. So it's a layer of my purpose. Yeah, so the Pattern app is cool. And I'm not saying astrology is like 100% right, but I do believe that in life, we go through different cycles. Look at the change of seasons. I'm in New York right now, and there's 4 seasons. There's fall, there's spring, summer, and winter, right? And with each season, nature changes. During fall, the leaves change color. Then during the winter, the leaves fall to the ground. The trees kind of, shed who they were. They shed the beautiful leaves. They fall to the ground. Then spring comes back. The flowers bloom. The trees bloom again. I don't know if bloom is the right word. The trees bloom again. Then summer comes. It's really hot. It's really hot and humid, and everything is beautiful, right? Perfect weather. Then the cycle starts again. Fall comes, the leaves start to change color, and it repeats. So nature is going through a process of change and evolution every year, every day. It's like a butterfly. They're transforming. A caterpillar becomes a butterfly by transformation. Nature is transforming every year. As humans, I believe we're transforming all the time. All the time we're transforming. And we're learning lessons along the way. Like everything is an experience, and we learn lessons. You know, you can read a book, but I'm a proponent of doing things and learning, right? So you experience things and you learn lessons. So I think that's an important thing to realize, that, you know, as humans, things are going to change, just like the stock market, just like our jobs. And that's natural. You know, that's natural. That's not uncommon. But society likes to think like, oh, we can get a stable job. In reality, that's not a natural process. You know, like there's nothing really stable. Everything is changing, right? Everything is changing. Things happen in cycles. And I was going through my closet and looking at some of my clothes. I was like, I'm never going to wear this. I should donate it. I wanted to dye my hair to kind of change it up and just change it up. Like, I know it's an external part of me, and really the internal part is the most important thing to change. But I wanted to change it up. Like, I'm going through a cycle. I'm going through my own transformation, and it's natural. It's natural. And everyone's purpose and cycle is different, so you can't really compare it. With that said, I think our human bodies also are always striving for a state of homeostasis, like equilibrium, or like, I'm not a doctor, but basically our body is very complex, and the different components of the body work together to provide optimal health for us. It's always trying to stabilize. So I think in any situation that we face, or any experience that we face, whether it be good or bad, we always have the opportunity to, you know, create some structure, create some order, stabilization. But we always have to keep on evolving and adapting and adjusting. That's what I say in a lot of my videos. So that's very important. But things are in cycles. So even if your business is not doing so well right now, that doesn't mean that your business won't be better. But it takes time. You know, it takes time for things to grow. It takes time for things to grow. Now I want to talk about balance again. I always talk about balance. I think balance is very important. And on homeostasis, like our body coming into equilibrium or stability, as humans, we have a relationship with our natural environment, the plants and the animals. So we breathe out carbon dioxide, and the trees take in the carbon dioxide, and they use that for their own energy. So we are working in effect with nature. So that is a balance. That is a homeostasis. That is an equilibrium. That is a relationship that we have. But with anything, if we fall out of alignment, if we're not balanced, like we chop all the trees down, we start building too much, we're messing up the equilibrium of the planet, which helps keep us in balance, right? And then we're having more catastrophic global warming and stuff like that. So there's always balance that needs to be had. And I think a lot of it is human greed. You know, human greed can lead to our demise. I'm not telling you that money and status are not important things. They are, but too much of it could lead to your demise. Just like in our society, like money and sex are the only thing like on TV and in movies. And everyone wants like a lot of money and sex, right? And these things won't lead to happiness, in my opinion. They won't lead to happiness. They're just external things that are part of nature, are part of our society, how we can support ourselves, have a life in this incarnation. And sex is a very sacred process. You know, that's how you can physically show love for your partner, and you can also create a new life. But if these things are out of alignment, they're out of balance, you know, it's just a very toxic energy. There's a lot of vices associated with money and sex, and it just leads to a lot of bad decisions and never really being satisfied with who we are as people if our only objectives are money and sex. But money and sex are not inherently bad, right? It's just when it's out of alignment, when it's out of balance, they're actually good things, right? That's my point that I'm trying to make. And that's going to lead into my last point. I've been rambling, but everything is connected. So our work, our relationships, be it romantic and social, societal expectations, they're all connected. I remember last year during the winter, I did a couple cinnamon bun events in Brooklyn by the Brooklyn Bridge, and it was quite cold. I just did these events because I just moved into the commissary kitchen and I just needed a place to sell the buns to test it out. But I did it for 2 weekends. One weekend, really no one came and I didn't really sell any buns. It was a really cold day. It was during a surge of the virus. So very few people came out to buy buns. I spent a lot of money to use the commissary kitchen. I also spent 8 hours to make the buns. I went to the event for 6 hours a day, like 8 hours, like including setup and breakdown to sell the buns. So I put my time, I put my money, and I just didn't sell anything. So I was really upset. I was very angry too. And I took it out on my parents. I took it out on my partner. I took it out on myself, right? And that's just my business. I wasn't stable enough in myself. I didn't remind myself that this might be part of the process. This might be part of the cycle of growth. This might be a difficult phase in my journey that I have to go through. Instead, I victimized myself saying, oh, why me? Why did this happen to me? And I ended up reacting poorly and spreading my negative, angry energy out on my loved ones, which is not a good thing, right? So I believe having that groundedness in our work, in our relationships, our stage in society, that is very important to have that groundedness, right? That groundedness. Because maybe I'll be struggling with my romantic relationship. That might influence how I feel about my job, how I feel about my self-confidence, right? These things are all connected. So I think the best thing that we can do is develop that inner knowing, going within to understand who we are, to understand our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, to understand how we feel when we're upset, to understand what triggers us and why. Is it because of family trauma or something that happened to you? To really understand ourselves. And then when we fall out of alignment, whether it be because, your partner said something that you didn't like, or you had a bad day at work, bring ourselves back to equilibrium, to homeostasis, and not react negatively, not let that energy take control of us and then impact negatively our relationships, okay, or our job. Because everything is connected. That's why you see a lot of people that maybe have, tons of money, but they can't have a romantic relationship. You look at someone like Elon Musk. He's a billionaire. He has a lot of money. He's super successful, and I respect him on many levels. But he has a hard time maintaining a family life and romantic partnerships. Look at someone like Jeff Bezos. All right, Jeff Bezos made a lot of money. And I don't know his situation. Everyone has different needs, but he let go of his wife that was backing him for many years, and now he's dating a younger woman. I forgot where I was going with this. It's all about balance, right? And with each stage of your journey, there's new lessons to be learned, and we all have a choice. We all have a choice. But I think it's remembering who we are and who helped us get to this level. Like, I believe a romantic relationship is sacred, and it could be male, female, male, but we each have a sacred masculine and feminine energy, right? Like a same-sex couple can have different masculine and feminine energies too, but the union of the masculine and feminine is the positive, the negative, the sun and the moon. The masculine can help ground the feminine. The feminine can help ground the masculine. So I think this union together is very important and sacred. And I'll do a video on this maybe, but these billionaires, a lot of these male billionaires, I believe, are so much in their dominant masculine energy, ego, in terms of building, creating, working, and they're not really taking time to enjoy the fruits of their labor, like the family, smell the roses, and taking time to rest and relax and spend time with themselves, spend time with their emotions. They're just going, conquering. And that might not be healthy. So Everything is connected, balance, homeostasis, the different cycles in our life. And I would ask you to just think about how you felt at different key points in your life, and what types of feelings did you feel at that point, and what are certain things that resonated with you. And then think about right now, like, what are things that make you happy, what resonates with you right now. And I think everything happens for a reason. Everything is an experience, but just having the understanding that life works in cycles and maintaining a point of equilibrium, homeostasis, balance in this ever-changing environment or life is very important. So I'm going to end this rant video. I commend anyone who watches the whole thing. This is a way for me to just practice talking, dump kind of my thoughts and feelings. So if it resonates, please leave a comment below. I hope everyone has a great day, great night. I'm sending you love and light. And if you're going through any type of rough time, you know, I'm not comparing my tough times to yours, but I just want you to know that it's okay. That's normal. And keep working on yourself. Keep working on yourself. You know, it's painful, but you can do it. You change your thoughts and you can get through it, okay? So I'm Michael Nicastro. Take care. Peace.